Hello, hello. I'm here to talk about something that's been haunting my brain lately, and that is AI slop. Oh no. So I've been working on a personal game for a long, long time. So long, in fact, that I checked out the Twitter I made for it originally. 2017. Yikes. So I've been working in one way or another in this game for almost a decade. But really, in earnest, I started really working more on it last November, and it's really come along in that time. Now, as a solo dev working on a personal project, there's some things I just cannot do myself. One of them being art. So, in this game, I actually have quite a bit of a need for art because my upgrades are essentially books, and then I need for books, I need book covers. So in the case of this one, it's basically a bunch of illustrations that I put together to make this book cover. I have a total of 71 books. So originally I thought, well, maybe I can commission artists to make them. Once I researched a little bit, pretty much the cheapest book covers I could find were around 500 bucks each. So 500 times 70, that's about 35,000 grand, which I don't have laying around to pay for an artist to make this. So what I ended up doing is using stock art. So for example, here, this is that exact cover that we're looking at. So it will basically be a bunch of different illustrations that I just put together. So the pig is by one artist, the girl is by one artist, the background is by another, the coin is by another. And then I just kind of put them together, and I'll do a few changes, like I think for her, I wanted to change the color of her dress. I'll change the lighting of the place so that there's better contrast. I'll give her like an outline so that she doesn't blend in as much. Things like that. I just kind of make the composition, get the text in there, and I just make like the composition of the book cover, and we're done. But I'm using stock assets of illustrations. So when I first started looking at those, I looked at places like this. So if I look here right now for, I tried princess earlier. So if I try princess, I get some pictures, some basic illustrations. But what is this? This media was generated by artificial intelligence. Same with this one. Same with this one. You start scrolling down. Some of them are very obvious. This just feels AI as soon as you see it. But this one doesn't have the little icon. So is it AI or is it not AI? I don't know. This one doesn't have it either. So who knows? This one's obviously this looks mega AI, so it's very easy to tell. But some of them, this one's kind of cool. I don't know if this is AI or not. It gets worse and worse. So the more you scroll, the more AI comes up. So because of that uncertainty where I couldn't know, like, is this AI, is this not AI? I decided not to use anything like this, anything that was a regular image. And instead I decided to use vector images. So this is a site for stock footage in this vector stock, and it essentially is only images in vectors. There is, as far as I know, there is no vector image generator for AI. Doesn't exist. So I was like, okay, I can be safe here, safe-ish. Then when I was making book 67 of 71, so quite a bit, I remember it because I didn't remember panic about the number. When I was making that, I needed an alchemy. It was like an alchemy book. So I looked for math scientist. And then I found this one. I thought, oh, that's a cool image. But then I saw his hands. And I was like, wait a second. What the hell is going on with his hands? Then I looked at maybe like a mouth coming through the mustache, and I was like, what the? And again, another busted hand over here. And that's when I realized, wait a second, there is AI here. Even though it's just vector art, they have AI. And then I noticed this thing over here, hide AI generated. So if there's a label here for hiding AI, it kind of means that there is AI. So if I click on it, and then I look for mad scientist, oh wait, he's still there. So that filter doesn't really do shit. Then if I scroll down, just in case you're doubtful, like, maybe just the hands are ugly, look at this. Look at this. My God. So obviously once I saw this, all my fears that it was AI generated were of course completely confirmed, because there's a bajillion of them being Slop. So at that point, I'm 67 book covers in, using assets from this site, are any of them AI? I don't know. I really cannot tell you. I looked back through them and, nothing stood out, but at the same time, how do I know? How do I know for sure that this girl was not generated with AI? I don't really have a way to know. So apparently the way they do this, because there is, as I said earlier, there is no generator of vector art for AI. But what they do is they just generate a bitmap, and then there are converters from bitmap into vectors. I remember those converters back in the day. I'm very old. Back in the day when I was working with, it was called Macromedia Flash back then. Now it's called Adobe Animate. And back then it had a way to convert from bitmaps into vectors, but it was super dirty. You could tell right away they were super messy. Obviously, they've gotten better in the last 20 years. So at that point, what do I do? I'm 67 book covers in. I've used, I don't know how many illustrations. In this last one that I showed you, I used basically the pig, the coin, the background, and the girl were all from different illustrators. So, that was 4. Not every cover needed as many, but, let's say there's 2 or 3 per 67. That's about 200 or so illustrations that I've used. Is there any AI in there? I honestly cannot tell you. I honestly don't know. I don't know how to detect it. I don't know how to figure that out. There's none that look as obvious as the examples that I showed you with a mad scientist, but that one is obviously pretty outrageous. So that was a while back. That was like a few months ago. So why am I making this video now? Well, a new issue I have, and that is music. So for the longest time, I've been using this track that I got in Epidemic Sound for my main menu. And Epidemic Sound essentially is a place that you can license royalty-free music to use in your creative projects. They do let you license for games, but it's kind of tricky because, I can totally use it for my game legally. The problem becomes when someone makes a video with my game in it. If it has that music, their video will get copyrighted. So obviously you don't want that. So I cannot really, in the end up using this audio, even though I do like the song. So let me play you a little bit. So you can see sort of the kind of vibes that I wanted for the main theme. And again, since I cannot use this, then I was like, okay, what do I do? Let's find a composer. So I looked around for a composer, and then I sent them a link to this song and another song that are like of a similar vibe to kind of explain the sort of music that I wanted. And I found one in a place called Upwork. It's essentially a place for freelance people, and it was 100% job success. They had like 70 or something different jobs completed, bunch of 5-star reviews and all that stuff, all positive, 100% job success, So I figured, okay, that thing must be good. One of the songs they had fit the vibe pretty well. So I listened to it and I was like, okay, that if they can make that song, they can probably make the song I need. So anyways, I hired them, paid them the first installment, whatnot, and then they came back with the song. And the song, let me play it for you. Let me play a little bit for you. It's in the vibes of what I wanted. It doesn't sound it's not as good as that one, but it works in the vibes. So what's the problem with that? Well, when he sent it to me, I had a few notes. One of them was the beginning was a little too long. The ending was very abrupt and it didn't kind of loop well into the beginning. And then there were some violins that just didn't sound great to me. And I wanted to check if he could try moving them an octave to see if I liked them more. That was what I asked for. He sent me back. I'll show you. So the top track is his original track. The bottom one is the new one. As you can see, the new one is quite a bit shorter. I asked them to shorten this part, and I asked them to switch the octave of strings that happen around here. I think what he did was slow down the track to achieve both those things. And then for the ending that wasn't working that great, you can see this part of the wave is this. So I think he just basically trimmed that part. There's some speculation here. I could be totally wrong about it, but if we listen to how this sounds, you see, this is slower. Dun, 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 dun. So it just kind of sped up. That's about all that happened there. And then if we listen to the very end of it, it ends very abruptly still. So the octave change on the strings didn't really happen. The shortening seems to have been done in pretty brute force. The ending seems to have been done in pretty brute force. So now I'm starting to think, did he just get AI to make this song? And because of that, now he's unable to edit it, right? I'm asking him to do particular edits to it, but of course, with AI, you cannot do that. Once it made the song, it made the song. I look for ways to identify if the song is AI or not, and there really isn't an effective way. Some of them, they tell you like, oh, split all the stems into different tracks, and then if you hear some glitches in there, you can detect. But honestly, I mean, I don't even know how to split it. I'm sure I can figure it out. But, I don't know that I have the ear to be like, oh, there's an artifact there that could, So anyways, so I don't know what to do. And this is how I'm feeling. I may be totally wrong about this, right? I don't even know if this is AI. I don't know how to know if this is AI. And I feel the same about the images. I can tell on the scientist one because the hands are all messed up and because there's like 3 dozen of them. But how do I know for the other ones? I just don't know. And that uncertainty is just it's just so annoying. And I know a few people will see this and be like, what? Who cares, right? Like, just put the thing. But I don't want to have AI Slop in my game. I just don't. It does matter to me. But even to me that it matters and I'm trying to pay attention to it, I just don't know how to avoid it. Because like I showed you earlier, you go into this, you turn on the hide AI generated thing, and there is. Tons of AI generated stuff. Is there a ton like this? I don't know. I really don't know. I did have thoughts of going backwards on all the images that I have and looking for dates. But that's that is a tough thing. This one actually, they don't even do it. In some places I did see they had like upload dates for them, but not in this site. So anyways, I would have to sort that out. How do I sort out if that song is AI or not? I'm going to ask him for like his project file so that I can see it, but we'll see. Anyways, I'm just venting here because honestly, it's so frustrating. I just don't know how to solve this. And I can imagine this is just going to get worse and worse for everyone. Because right now, like I said, like the techniques to know if a song is AI is like split the stems and look for like little distortions on each one of the stems. Eventually they're going to fix that. It's going to get harder. Just like with this guy, we know that now AI doesn't mess up the fingers as much anymore. Back in the day it was awful, so it's very clear here. But it doesn't do that anymore, so it gets harder and harder to tell. Yeah. And when I end up in a terrible knot of, I don't know what to do. What do you think I should do? Help me. Adios, 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 adios.